Tim's coming back. We're gonna talk about the iPad 10.5-inch edition. Bring it on, Tim. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. The most important event of my whole year. Number 5. Oh, here we go. iPad, an important part of the iOS story. Well, he's right when he says that iPad has changed the way that we work and play, but sales have been sagging, which is the main problem right now. Sales are going down and it's being eaten up by laptops, basically, because people being productive on their iPads are ending up just going back to their laptops. That's what I do. That's why I'm watching on my laptop right now. Wow, can you believe we've only had iPad Pro for 18 months? When you think about how much people have done with it in those 18 months, it feels like it's been out for 3 years. As you know, there are 2 models, yes, we know. 9.7 is the most popular one. Well, that's obvious. This 12.9-inch model is just way too big to bring anywhere. Here we go. He does this like flip, and it looks exactly the same except it's black. Of course, we know the real differences are on the inside and the screen as well. The screen is now 10.5 inches diagonally. It's gonna be nice. 20% larger, huh? Didn't know that. Guess I should have done the math myself. I assume that it's the same thickness as the current iPad Pro. I don't know though. Full-size on-screen keyboard. Is that new? I feel like we've had a full-size on-screen keyboard since the start. Oh, this is important. Smart keyboard, even in Japan, was always selling with just the English-only version, but now I guess there's gonna be better support for languages on the new smart keyboard. Both sizes get new displays, so the 12-inch is also gonna have a true tone display. That's really good. That's really, really nice. 600 nits of brightness is great. HDR video. I guess we didn't have HDR before. We'll kind of have to test that, but I don't think Apple would say it's HDR unless it actually was. That's gonna look beautiful. I've got to say, True Tone, the True Tone display, which changes it so it's a bit more yellow if you've got yellow light above you, is really, really good. What is ProMotion? Alright, so now he's talking about the refresh rate on the tablets. I didn't even realize they always ran at 60 Hz. I thought maybe it jumped up higher when necessary, but only now it's going up to 120. Well, I'm really keen to see how smooth that is, because having smooth movement, you know, it really defines Apple products, sets them apart from the competition. At least it did in the early days. It always felt so much smoother. Android's obviously caught up recently. Oh, and they are matching Microsoft on the latency by having a 20 millisecond latency on the Pencil. I personally feel that the Apple Pencil's a lot better than the Surface Pen anyway, but they said with the new Surface Pen in 2017 that it's gonna have a 20 millisecond delay, and that's, I don't know, maybe double the speed of the Apple Pencil, but now it looks like Apple Pencil will be keeping up the fight. Okay, that's impressive. I guess I always thought that it could already do this, but it can ramp down the refresh rate so it saves battery. I feel like it could already do that, but maybe just for the purposes of the presentation, maybe they're just emphasizing it. A10X Fusion chip. It's a 6-core processor. Is that necessary? Brilliant. And the GPU is 12-core. Wow. I can't think of 2 things at the same time, but this computer can think of 12. 30% faster than the A9X and 40% faster graphics performance? Well, you'd think so with a 12-core brain. 500 times faster than the original iPad. How long are we going to be comparing ourselves to the original iPad? What is Infinity Photo? Some new app. I think this guy's trying to promote Infinity Photo as being a really good Photoshop contender. This is standard stuff, moving images around on screen. He's saying that it is refreshing at 120 FPS. Whoa! Oh, that reminds me of Kai's Power Goo. Do you remember that one? Back in the day, pointless software that could just you could squish around the face and blur stuff. But what he's showing is that the effects render very, very quickly so that you can see exactly what kind of effect they'll have. Oh wow. Wow, I like that, being able to scroll through the blending modes to find exactly the one you need. That's really good because usually it's very difficult to know which blending mode you need. So being able to scroll and test them all is really nice. Infinity Photo, I'll have to try that. I wonder if it's already downloadable. Oh wow! You can use the tilt on the pencil to control the angle of the light. A good use of a technology which wasn't getting as much use as it could have got on PC. Once you have a standard pen and a standard screen, I feel like it really helps developers know how to develop for it. With Wacom, it's hard to know because not everyone has the same one. So as of now, we can already jump on and download it. I am downloading that now. Still got 10 hours of battery life, that's good. 12 megapixel camera. How good was the previous camera? Was it 8? Optical image stabilization on the iPad. That's brilliant because You may have seen a video I posted the other day when I was showing you what's in my bag. That was actually shot on my iPhone 7 with optical image stabilization, and it works really, really, really well. So having it on the iPad Pro is going to be really nice in case you can't, you may just not have your phone handy at the time. Being able to do a quick video with your iPad, that's great. I'm guessing that USB 3 wasn't standard before, so file transfers were quite slow. They got an official sleeve that has a place to put the pen. I want that. I want that bad. They're doubling all the memory configurations. I guess that means there's no 32GB model anymore. It'll all, like, the lowest model is the 64. That's good for you and me. Ooh, there's a 512GB iPad Pro. Holy crap. I think that might be more memory than I have in my actual laptop. You can order today and get them by next week. Okay, so I'm actually recording this on the evening of the same day of the announcement of the iPad Pro 10.5-inch news. And essentially, I just ran out of time because I had to jump on the train and go to work. But now that I'm home, and I've had a little bit of time to think about it, the iPad Pro 10.5-inch is an appealing device. I think there are a number of people who would enjoy it. But what I'm going to go out and say is that the real star of the show isn't the iPad, it's iOS. And I'm thinking I might make another video so I can go into more detail about it. But essentially, when they finished the presentation of the iPad Pro 10.5-inch edition by itself, they went on to then talk about the fact that iOS will, on the iPad, introduce Files, which is an app which allows you to actually organize files. And until now, I think for like 5 or 6 years, we've had iPads with no file management. You've had to use Dropbox or use something like Goodreader to actually drag and drop files onto the device. Now you'll actually have access to PDFs, you can put them in folders, you can move them around, organize them. And also, drag and drop is now multi-touch. Like, I'm gonna talk about this more when I've had a chance later to think about it a bit more and make another video about it. But this is going to be quite revolutionary, I think, for iPad, because until now, iPad has always felt a little bit unusable in a work environment, because in a work environment you always have files coming in and you need to be able to copy them or send them back over to someone else, or organize them into a folder. Really simple stuff like that was really hard on the iPad. And here's what Apple's trying to do. They're trying to build up the popularity of iPad, because currently well, until now, I don't know if it's gone up again, but it was going down. And I think even Microsoft is aware of this. They know that the tablet thing isn't as big and ludicrous a business as it was before. So while everyone's trying to kind of make more appealing laptops that are as thin and portable as an iPad anyway, Apple is not giving up with the iPad. In fact, they're kind of evolving it so that iPad becomes the computer you'd rather use, as opposed to the computer that you just use because it's cheaper than a laptop or a bit lighter than a laptop. I think it's going to get to a point where it's actually like the laptop you want to use is your iPad Pro. Plus, there are all these excellent things about the iPad Pro, like the fact that refresh rate goes up to 120 Hz. So I don't know if that's going to work in games as well, but it should be really nice, especially for UI elements. When you're just flipping around through web pages or just flipping through the screens, I think it's going to be nice to see that really smooth refresh rate. Plus, for me, I think it's really good to have optical image stabilization on the iPad Pro, because I don't think I would choose my iPad Pro to take pictures with, but often when I've been at family gatherings and suddenly like the kids do something really funny, sometimes my phone is charging or it's just somewhere else, but I'm reading, web pages on my iPad, and then having the camera right there and then, like able to take a shot of something, like in those emergency moments. It is actually really good to have a good camera on the iPad Pro. Plus, optical image stabilization means that, you can trust your iPad Pro to be as good as the camera as you've got on your iPhone. Maybe not as good as the one on the iPhone Plus, the one with the 2 cameras which can do the whole blurry background thing. A very capable camera, one that you can trust. And recently I've been upgrading pretty much all my cameras so that they have optical image stabilization, because it's like a feature that I just cannot live without now, especially as I'm tending to do more vlogs than I was doing before. Doing a lot of vlogs
in Japan, or vlogs anywhere, you need to have good optical image stabilization. Otherwise, people just start to feel a bit unwell watching the video. I feel a bit unwell watching some of my old vlogs with my GoPro because it's really, really shaky, and it's like, I wish I'd been able to shoot it with optical image stabilization. I'm gonna stop saying that. So, OIS. I'm just gonna say IS from now for image stabilization. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say, is that yes, iPad Pro 10.5 inch was introduced today. It's exciting for people who don't have an iPad Pro, but you probably don't need to upgrade to it, because although it will be faster in terms of performance and graphics performance, the CPU performance and graphics performance, the pencil is more or less the same. The screen is a little bit bigger, but I think for people who own an iPad Pro already, they're not going to feel like, it's not going to be like a noticeable difference. It's just going to look a bit nicer, a bit more of an appealing product, and I think also it's just going to look nicer next to the new iPhone that they'll probably release later this year. So having thinner bezels is like the theme, right? They're going to try and have as thin bezels as possible on all their products. So there it is, yeah, iPad Pro 10.5 inch. Very exciting for people who don't have an iPad Pro, but for people who already have an iPad Pro, I think it's as exciting, because iOS 11 is really gonna be nice. I'm gonna watch this video again, figure out a bit more about what iOS 11 can do, and then I'll probably make a coffee video about it. But how about you guys? For now, I mean, you've hopefully seen the Apple video yourself and seen my reactions as well. How do you feel about iPad Pro 10.5? If you already have an iPad Pro, do you want to upgrade? And if you don't have an iPad Pro, do you think this is going to be the time to jump in, because it still has the Apple Pencil, and it looks like it's probably going to perform even better than it did before, especially with, you know, the screen running at an increased refresh rate, which can be really nice for people who are drawing. Plus, the latency has been lowered to 20 milliseconds. I already felt that there was almost no latency on the Apple Pencil anyway, so that's not going to make much of a difference to me. But how about you guys? Is it time to jump on board and buy an iPad Pro 10.5 inch? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, share the links and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next Nihongo Gamer video.